Marcus Reed had walked Chicago's underground rail system for 15 years. At 2:47 a.m., he heard rhythmic tapping behind a concrete wall sealed since 1952. Dispatch confirmed no crews were underground. 3 hours later, his radio whispered his employee ID number. Now 500 feet down with a crowbar and dying flashlight, Marcus will discover some tunnels were sealed for reasons beyond structural integrity. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from. And if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. Marcus clocked in at 10:30 p.m., the fluorescent lights of the CTA maintenance facility buzzing overhead like angry insects. The night supervisor, Davis, barely looked up from his clipboard. 7B tonight, Davis said. Deep freight section. Haven't had eyes down there in 3 months. Marcus nodded, already running through his mental checklist. Flashlight, check. Radio, check. Tablet with the tunnel maps loaded. He grabbed his equipment belt from his locker, the familiar weight settling around his waist like an old friend. 15 years of graveyard shifts had turned him into a creature of the underground. Most workers hated the deep tunnels. Marcus found them peaceful. Gas detector working, Davis asked. Tested it yesterday. Good. We got a report of some settling in that section. Probably nothing, but document anything that looks off. Davis finally looked up. You need backup. For 7B. Marcus almost laughed. I could walk that tunnel blind. He'd grown up in coal country, eastern Kentucky. His father had worked the mines for 30 years before black lung took him at 53. Marcus had spent his teenage summers underground, learning to read rock faces and trust his instincts when the mountain whispered warnings. Moving to Chicago at 25, he traded coal dust for concrete dust. The principle was the same. Respect the dark, and it wouldn't kill you. The entrance to the deep system sat behind the main facility, a heavy steel door that required 2 keys to open. Marcus descended the first set of stairs, his boots echoing in the stairwell. The temperature dropped 10 degrees immediately. Down here, it stayed a constant 52 degrees year-round, summer or winter. Tonight felt colder somehow. He reached the first junction and radioed in. Read to dispatch, entering deep system, tunnel 7B route. Static crackled, then a voice. Copy that, Reed. Check in every 30 minutes. Will do. The modern tunnels were well lit, clean, maintained daily by crews who never ventured past Junction 4. Marcus walked through them quickly, his flashlight unnecessary under the LED strips that lined the ceiling. But at Junction 4, everything changed. The LEDs ended. The walls shifted from smooth concrete to rougher, older construction. He clicked on his flashlight. This was the freight section, built in the late 40s and early 50s, when Chicago was planning a massive expansion of underground cargo transport. The project had been abandoned before completion. Now these tunnels served mainly as access routes to maintenance points deeper in the system. Only a handful of workers even knew they existed. Marcus's footsteps sounded different here, hollow and strange. The air tasted stale, metallic. He checked his gas detector, all normal. Water dripped somewhere in the distance, a steady rhythm that had been echoing through these tunnels for decades. He'd heard it 100 times before, but tonight something felt off. He couldn't name it exactly. Just a sense of wrongness, like walking into a room where someone had just stopped talking. Marcus paused at Junction 7, playing his light across the walls. Everything looked normal. Concrete, rebar, the occasional patch of efflorescence where water had leached through. Standard. He shook his head and kept walking. 18 more minutes to the inspection point. Tunnel 7B stretched ahead into darkness. The beam of Marcus's flashlight swallowed by the void after 30 feet. The concrete here showed its age. Cracks spiderwebbed across the ceiling, and rust stains bled down the walls like old wounds. He pulled out his tablet and started logging observations. The air grew colder as he descended the slight grade. His breath formed small clouds in the flashlight beam. He made note of a section where the wall bowed inward slightly, signs of pressure from the earth outside. Nothing critical, but worth documenting. The city pressed down from above. Streets, buildings, the weight of 8 million people going about their lives, completely unaware of the hollow spaces beneath their feet. His radio crackled. Read, 30-minute check. He pressed the transmit button. Nothing. Pressed it again. Static. Then his voice came through, distorted and thin. Read here. At the 7B main section. Everything's... The signal died mid-sentence. Marcus tapped the radio. Dead air. He moved 20 feet forward. Tried again. Still nothing. Signal loss wasn't uncommon this deep, but his radio had worked fine at Junction 7 just 10 minutes ago. He marked his position on the tablet's GPS. The underground mapping system used a network of repeaters to track worker locations. The tablet showed him as a blue dot in a sea of gray tunnel lines. He continued the inspection, checking wall integrity, measuring crack widths with his gauge, photographing anything that looked questionable. Standard procedure. He'd done this same routine in 50 different tunnels across the system. The work settled his nerves, gave his hands something to do, while his mind processed the strange atmosphere. Then he saw the sealed section. It rose before him like a monument, a wall of concrete that stretched from floor to ceiling, completely blocking the tunnel. Marcus had known it was here. The map showed it clearly, but seeing it in person was different. The concrete looked newer than the surrounding tunnel, poured in a hurry from the look of it. No expansion joints, no proper finishing work. Just raw concrete, thick and final. He approached slowly, running his hand across the surface. Cold, solid. A metal sign hung at eye level. The paint faded, but still legible. No entry, structural condemnation, 1952. 70 years sealed. Marcus had read the reports during his training. A section of the freight tunnel had collapsed during construction, deemed too unstable to salvage. They'd sealed it off and built around it. The tunnel beyond didn't connect to anything, just ended in rubble and darkness. He stepped back to photograph the wall for his report. That's when he heard it. Tap, tap, tap. Pause, tap, tap, tap. Marcus froze. The sound came from behind the wall, rhythmic and deliberate. Not the random settling of old concrete, not pipes expanding or contracting, not water dripping. Someone was tapping. 3 beats. Pause. 3 beats. He pressed his ear against the concrete. The vibration traveled through the wall, clear and unmistakable. His heart kicked into a higher gear. Hello. His voice echoed in the empty tunnel. The tapping stopped. Silence pressed in from all directions, thick and waiting. Then it started again. Faster now. More urgent. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Marcus backed away from the wall, his flashlight beam trembling slightly. He tried the radio again, pressing the transmit button hard enough to hurt his thumb. Dispatch, this is Reed. Do you copy? Static hissed back at him. He adjusted the frequency dial, cycled through the emergency channels. Nothing but white noise. The tapping continued behind him, steady and insistent. He forced himself to think methodically. Underground, sounds traveled in strange ways. Vibrations from active train lines could echo through the concrete for miles. Pipes ran through these walls. HVAC systems, water mains, electrical conduits. Any of them could create rhythmic sounds. But the trains weren't running on this line. The pipes in this section had been shut off for decades, and no machine tapped in perfect groups of 3 with precise pauses between. He checked the time on his tablet, 1:15 a.m. He'd been down here 45 minutes. Moving closer to the wall again, Marcus examined it with his flashlight, looking for any gaps, any openings where sound might be filtering through from another tunnel. The concrete was seamless. Whoever had poured this wall had meant it to last. The tapping shifted, moving along the wall to his right. He followed it, pressing his hand against the concrete every few feet. The vibrations were stronger near the base of the wall, where it met the tunnel floor. He knelt down, running his fingers along the joint. His mining instincts kicked in, analyzing the construction, looking for weaknesses. A chunk of concrete, no bigger than a golf ball, had crumbled away near the corner. Marcus aimed his flashlight into the small gap. Darkness beyond, and a smell. Old air, stale and heavy with dust. The tapping came through the hole clearly now, so close it sounded like it was right on the other side. He pulled out his phone, switched it to camera mode, and angled it into the gap. The flash fired. In the brief illumination, he saw a larger space beyond the wall, an open tunnel stretching into darkness. Not collapsed, not filled with rubble. Open. The tapping stopped. Marcus's hands shook as he reviewed the photo. The tunnel beyond looked intact, the walls smooth, no sign of structural damage. This wasn't a condemned section. This was a sealed section. There was a difference. His radio suddenly crackled to life, startling him so badly he nearly dropped it. Reed, do you copy? You missed your check-in. He grabbed the radio. Dispatch, yeah, I copy. Had some signal issues. Listen, I'm at the 7B sealed section and I'm hearing... Say again, you're breaking up. I'm hearing sounds, behind the sealed wall, like someone tapping. A pause, static. Then, Reed, we show no crews underground tonight. Nobody assigned to 7B. You're alone down there. I know what I'm hearing. It's not random. It's deliberate. Another pause, longer this time. Reed, complete your inspection and return to facility. We'll send a team down in the morning to check it out. Marcus stood, playing his light across the wall one more time. The tapping had stopped completely now. Just silence. Deep, absolute silence. Copy that. Heading back now. He turned to leave. His radio hissed with static, then cut through with a sound that made his blood freeze. A whisper, barely audible, but clear enough. 7, 4, 9, 3, 2, 1. His employee ID number. The radio went dead. Marcus ran, not a panicked sprint, but a fast walk that became a jog as his heart hammered against his ribs. The tunnel stretched ahead, his flashlight beam bouncing with each step. His breathing echoed harsh in the confined space. Nobody knew his employee ID by heart. 749321. 6 digits assigned 15 years ago. The number appeared on his paycheck, his login, his security clearance, but nobody said it out loud. Nobody whispered it through a dead radio from behind a wall sealed since 1952. He reached Junction 7 and stopped, hands on his knees. His flashlight illuminated the intersection where 3 tunnels met. The modern section lay straight ahead, 20 minutes to the surface. To his left, Tunnel 8 led deeper. To his right, a maintenance corridor connected to the old pump station. Marcus checked his radio. Still dead. He pulled the battery, wiped the contacts, replaced it. Nothing. He'd charged it fully before his shift. 6 hours of battery life minimum. His phone had no signal. The tablet still tracked his position, though. The blue dot showed him exactly where he stood. He zoomed out, studying the tunnel network. The sealed section had no marking, just a notation. End of maintained section. But he'd seen the photograph. An open tunnel beyond that wall. Marcus pulled up the tablet's document archive. He found the file for Tunnel 7B, dated October 1952. Structural collapse during excavation. Section condemned and sealed per chief engineer recommendation. No casualties reported. No casualties. Then who was tapping? The collapse had occurred on October 13th. The sealing work completed on October 14th, less than 24 hours later. You didn't seal off a tunnel overnight unless you were hiding something. Marcus found a crew manifest. 23 workers assigned to the 7B expansion. A separate document listed final project assignments. Only 12 names. 11 names were missing. His flashlight flickered. Once, twice, then steadied. The batteries should last another 4 hours. He'd replaced them yesterday. A sound reached him from down the tunnel, from the direction he'd come. Not tapping. Footsteps, slow and deliberate, echoing off concrete, getting closer. Marcus killed his flashlight and pressed against the wall. Darkness swallowed everything. He held his breath. The footsteps stopped. Silence. Then a voice, distant but clear. Marcus. Someone down here knew his name. Marcus waited in the darkness, every muscle locked. The voice hadn't sounded threatening, just tired. He counted his heartbeats. 30 seconds. 45. A full minute. No more sounds. He clicked the flashlight back on. The tunnel behind him was empty. His beam cut through the darkness, illuminating concrete walls and nothing else. He swept the light across every surface. Nothing. Hello? His voice bounced back from 3 directions. No answer. Marcus made a decision. He couldn't go back toward the sealed wall. The modern tunnels lay ahead, but his instincts screamed to understand what was happening first. He needed information. The maintenance corridor led to the old pump station. If any records existed about what really happened in 52, they'd be stored there. Davis had mentioned it once. A dusty office full of filing cabinets nobody had touched in decades. Marcus entered the corridor, moving quickly. This section was narrower, the ceiling lower. Support beams crossed overhead every 20 feet. Water dripped somewhere ahead. The corridor ended at a heavy metal door. A faded sign read, Pump Station 7, authorized personnel only. The third key on his ring turned with a grinding sound. The door opened on protesting hinges. Inside, the pump station spread out in a large chamber. Ancient equipment lined the walls. Massive pumps that had once kept the tunnels dry, now silent. Emergency lighting kicked on automatically, dim fluorescent tubes casting everything in sickly yellow. An office occupied the far corner. Through the grimy window, Marcus could see filing cabinets and a desk buried under papers. He crossed the chamber. The office door stood ajar. He pushed it open. Dust covered everything. Filing cabinets lined one wall, drawers labeled by year. Marcus pulled open the 1952 drawer, found October and pulled the entire stack, spreading folders across the desk. One folder caught his attention. Incident report, October 13th, 1952. Confidential. He opened it. Under description of incident, someone had written, see attached documentation, recommend immediate supervisory review. Marcus flipped to the next page. A handwritten note. Workers reported hearing sounds during excavation of Section 7B extension, described as mechanical in nature, but no equipment operating in that area. Excavation continued. At approximately 2 p.m., crew broke through into existing chamber, not on any blueprints. Chamber empty but shows signs of previous construction, predates current tunnel system by unknown period. Marcus kept reading. Chamber approximately 40 feet in diameter, ceiling height 12 feet. Walls show tool marks inconsistent with modern excavation methods. At 4 p.m., structural collapse occurred. 12 workers trapped inside. Rescue efforts initiated immediately. The next page was different handwriting, shakier. October 14th, 0300 hours. Rescue efforts suspended. Contact with trapped workers lost at 2100 hours on October 13th. Last communication reported sounds coming from deeper in the chamber. Secondary collapse occurred before extraction possible. Chief Engineer Warren ordered section sealed. Cement work to begin at 1600 hours. Marcus found a memo marked, destroy after reading. Personnel unaccounted for. 11 workers entered chamber after initial collapse to attempt rescue. No contact established. Sealed section to remain permanently closed. No future excavation authorized. 23 workers, 12 trapped. 11 went in to rescue them. Last contact at 9 p.m. Section sealed by 6 a.m. the next morning. 9 hours between last contact and permanent seal. Not enough time for proper rescue. Marcus found a photograph clipped to the file. Construction crew dated October 10th, 1952. 23 men in work clothes. One man in the front row had his employee badge visible. 74932. 749321. The same digits, rearranged. His radio crackled to life, making him drop the photograph. Help us! Multiple voices speaking in unison. Marcus grabbed the radio. Who is this? Where are you? Behind the wall. Still here. Always here. That's impossible. The collapse was 70 years ago. Not surviving. Waiting. His flashlight flickered. The office lights dimmed. The temperature dropped. Waiting for what? For someone to finish it. To seal it properly. We couldn't. It wouldn't let us. What wouldn't let you? The lights went out. His flashlight died. Marcus fumbled for his phone, activated the screen. The pale glow barely pushed back the darkness. The radio hissed. What we found. What found us. It's still down there. You opened the wall. You let it know someone's here. I didn't open anything. The gap. At the base. Small holes become big holes. It knows now. His phone screen flickered. Battery read 87%, but the display was fading. What is it? Go deeper. See for yourself. Then seal it. Don't let it reach the surface. The transmission ended. His phone died. Complete darkness, then breathing, deep and rhythmic, getting closer. Marcus felt along the desk until his fingers found the edge. Moved left toward the door. His boot hit something metal, a trash can. It clattered across the floor. The breathing stopped. Marcus froze. The silence felt worse than the sound. He found the door frame, edged into the pump station chamber. 30 feet to the exit door. He used the piping as a guide, sliding his palm along the surface. Something brushed his shoulder. Marcus jerked away, stumbled, caught himself. He reached out slowly. His fingers found fabric. A jacket hanging from a hook. Just a jacket. He kept moving. Found the exit door. Grabbed the handle. Pulled. Locked. He'd unlocked it coming in. Marcus felt for the deadbolt. Someone had locked him in. He fumbled with his key ring. The second one slid into the lock. Turned. The deadbolt clicked. Marcus yanked the door. It moved an inch. Something blocked it from the other side. He put his shoulder into it. The gap widened to 6 inches. Light spilled through from the corridor. Marcus squeezed through the gap. Behind him, something heavy hit the door. Once, twice, 3 times. Marcus ran down the corridor toward Junction 7, his feet pounding concrete. He didn't slow until he reached the junction and could see the modern tunnel ahead. He stopped, gasping. Checked behind him. The corridor was empty. His tablet screen flickered to life. The battery showed 15%. It had been at 70. The GPS was still active, his blue dot pulsing at Junction 7. But there was another dot now. Red. Moving slowly through Tunnel 7B, heading toward his position. Marcus stared at the red dot on his tablet screen. It moved with purpose, not randomly. Whoever or whatever it was knew exactly where it was going. He zoomed in on the display. The dot was at the sealed wall now. It paused there for 10 seconds. Then it started moving again. Faster this time. Coming toward Junction 7. Toward him. Marcus checked the distance. 400 yards. At the speed it was moving, maybe 3 minutes until it reached him. He looked at the modern tunnel ahead. Safety. Light. People. He could run and be clear in 2 minutes. But the red dot would follow him. Would reach the surface. Would find other workers. The radio crackled one more time. A different voice now. Older. Tired beyond measure. Don't run. It follows fear. Stand your ground or seal us all in. Those are your only choices. So, this story takes time to craft. If you're enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Marcus forced himself to stay calm. He'd been in darkness before, deep in Kentucky coal mines when his headlamp died. The trick was to move slowly, use your hands, trust your memory of the space. He felt along the desk until his fingers found the edge. Moved left toward where he remembered the door. His boot hit something metal, a trash can. It clattered across the floor, the sound impossibly loud. The breathing stopped. Marcus froze. Counted to 10. The silence felt worse than the sound. At least when something breathed, you knew where it was. He found the door frame, edged through into the main pump station chamber. The emergency lights had gone out, but he remembered the layout. 30 feet straight ahead to the exit door. He could make it if he moved carefully. His hand touched something cold. Metal piping. He used it as a guide, sliding his palm along the smooth surface. 5 steps. 10. His other hand swept the air in front of him, feeling for obstacles. Something brushed against his shoulder. Marcus jerked away, stumbled, caught himself against a pump housing. His heart hammered so hard he thought his ribs might crack. He reached out slowly, feeling for what had touched him. His fingers found fabric. A jacket, hanging from a hook on the wall. Just a jacket. He breathed out slowly, kept moving. The exit door should be close now. He stretched his hand forward, searching for the metal surface. Found it, grabbed the handle, pulled, locked. No, he'd unlocked it coming in. The door couldn't lock itself. Marcus felt for the deadbolt. It had been turned from the inside. Someone had locked him in. Or something had. He fumbled with his key ring. trying keys by touch. The second one slid into the lock, turned. The deadbolt clicked open. Marcus yanked the door. It moved an inch, then stopped. Something blocked it from the other side. He put his shoulder into it, pushed hard. Whatever was blocking it shifted slightly. He pushed again. The gap widened to 6 inches. Light spilled through from the corridor, dim emergency lighting, but after total darkness, it looked like noon sun. Marcus squeezed through the gap, scraping his back against the doorframe. He was through. Behind him, something heavy hit the door. Once, twice, 3 times. The metal rang like a bell. Marcus didn't look back. He ran down the corridor toward Junction 7, his feet pounding concrete. His lungs burned. His legs screamed. He didn't slow down until he reached the junction and could see the modern tunnel ahead, its LED strips glowing like a promise of safety. He stopped, bent over, gasping, checked behind him. The corridor was empty. Nothing had followed. His tablet screen flickered to life in his pocket. He pulled it out. The battery showed 15%. It had been at 70 when he entered the pump station. The GPS tracking was still active, his blue dot pulsing at Junction 7. But there was another dot now. Red, moving slowly through Tunnel 7B, heading toward his position. Marcus stared at the screen. The red dot moved with purpose, not randomly. It knew exactly where it was going. He zoomed in. The dot was at the sealed wall now. It paused there for 10 seconds, then started moving again, faster this time, coming toward Junction 7, toward him, 400 yards. At the speed it was moving, maybe 3 minutes until it reached him. Marcus looked at the modern tunnel ahead. Safety, light, people. He could run and be clear in 2 minutes, but the red dot would follow him, would reach the surface, would find other workers. The radio crackled one more time, a different voice now, older, tired beyond measure. Don't run. It follows fear. Stand your ground or seal us all in. Those are your only choices. Marcus made his decision. He turned away from the modern tunnel and headed back down the maintenance corridor toward Pump Station 7. If something was coming, he'd meet it on his terms, not running blind through the dark. He moved quickly, checking his equipment as he walked. Flashlight still dead. Radio crackling with static. Tablet at 14% battery. His tool belt held a wrench, screwdriver, voltage tester, and the crowbar he'd grabbed earlier. Not much for fighting, but tools could be weapons if needed. The pump station door stood open where he'd squeezed through. Marcus stepped inside, let his eyes adjust to the emergency lighting. The massive pumps lined the walls like sleeping giants. He'd worked on equipment like this before, knew their layout, their weak points, their maintenance access panels. An idea formed. These pumps had been offline for decades, but their power supply might still be active. Chicago didn't fully decommission infrastructure. Too expensive. They just disconnected and left it in place. If he could restore power to even one pump, the noise and vibration might mask his movements. Or better yet, he could trigger a system alarm that would bring crews running. Marcus crossed to the nearest pump and opened the access panel. The wiring inside looked ancient but intact. He pulled out his voltage tester, touched the probes to the main line. The indicator light flickered weakly, then glowed steady green. Power was still flowing. He traced the emergency cutoff switch, a large red handle mounted on the wall. Someone had thrown it decades ago, killing power to all pumps. Marcus grabbed the handle and pulled. It didn't budge. Rust had frozen it solid. He wedged his crowbar behind the handle and levered. Metal groaned. The handle shifted a quarter inch. He levered again, putting his full weight into it. The handle suddenly gave way, with a screech of metal on metal. Lights blazed throughout the chamber. Every fluorescent tube sparked to life. The pumps began to hum, building toward operational speed. The sound was deafening after hours of near silence. Marcus shielded his eyes against the sudden glare. The chamber looked different in full light, cleaner, less threatening. He could see the exit clearly now, the corridors branching off in 3 directions. Then he saw what had been blocking the door earlier, a workman's boot, old leather, cracked and dried, attached to a leg, attached to a body slumped against the wall beside the door. Marcus approached slowly, The body wore a work uniform from the 1950s, the fabric remarkably preserved in the dry underground air. The man's employee badge was still pinned to his chest. Gerald Moss, 74932. The man from the photograph, the one whose ID digits matched Marcus's number, rearranged. Gerald's hands were clasped around something. Marcus knelt down, gently moved the stiff fingers aside. A journal. Leather-bound, water-stained, filled with handwriting. He opened to the first page. October 14th, 1952. If anyone finds this, you need to know what we found. What we woke up. What we couldn't put back to sleep. The pumps reached full speed. Their vibration shook the floor. And from down the corridor, Marcus heard it clearly now over the machinery noise. Footsteps, multiple sets, coming closer. The red dot on his tablet had stopped moving. It was right outside the pump station door. Marcus grabbed the journal and moved behind one of the massive pumps, putting metal between himself and the door. The pump's vibration made his teeth ache. He flipped through the journal quickly, scanning Gerald Moss's handwriting. We broke through at 2 p.m. Chamber wasn't empty like the reports say. There was equipment inside, not ours, not anyone's we recognized. Metal that looked wrong, felt wrong, symbols on the walls that hurt to look at. Thompson touched one of the machines. It started humming. We tried to turn it off. Couldn't figure out how. Marcus turned the page. The handwriting got shakier. The collapse at 4 p.m. wasn't an accident. The machine did it. Sealed us in with it. 12 of us trapped. We could hear the rescue team digging. Then the machine started affecting them too, making them see things, hear things. 4 rescuers went crazy, attacked the others. 7 more came to help. They got sealed in with us. 19 total now. The footsteps in the corridor stopped. Marcus peered around the pump. 3 figures stood in the doorway. They wore work clothes from the 50s, hard hats, tool belts. Their faces were pale, skin like wax. They didn't blink. One of them spoke. "You shouldn't have turned on the pumps." Marcus tightened his grip on the crowbar. "You're not real. You're 70 years dead." "Dead, yes. Real, also yes." The figure stepped into the chamber. The other 2 followed. "The machine keeps us, uses us. We're its interface now." "What is it? What does it want?" "To grow, to spread, to integrate." The figure's voice was flat, emotionless. "It started small, deep underground. We found it during excavation. Breaking the seal woke it. It's been growing ever since. Very slowly. The concrete slowed it down but didn't stop it. Now you've given it vibration, energy. It grows faster with stimulation." Marcus looked at the pumps. Their vibration traveled through the concrete into the walls, the floor, feeding whatever was sealed in that chamber. So I turned them off. Too late. It's awake now, active. It knows there's surface above. Millions of hosts. It will reach them eventually. Days, weeks. Doesn't matter to something that's waited thousands of years. Marcus flipped through more journal pages, found Gerald's final entry. "We tried to seal it properly, needed explosives to collapse the entire section. Thompson knew where the gas lines ran, said we could trigger a chain reaction that would bring down half a mile of tunnel, bury the machine forever, but we'd have to stay inside to set it right. Make sure the collapse was complete. We drew straws. I lost. So did 4 others. We sent the others out, sealed ourselves in from inside. This is our last night. Tomorrow we blow it. If anyone finds this journal, we succeeded. If you're reading this and the machine is still active, we failed. God help you. God help everyone." The 3 figures moved closer. Their eyes were empty, reflecting nothing. "Gerald failed," they said in unison. "The collapse wasn't big enough. The machine survived, grew, learned. Now it's ready." Marcus checked his tablet. The battery was at 9%. The red dot had split into 3 smaller dots, all inside the pump station, all moving toward him. Marcus backed toward the office, keeping the pump between himself and the 3 figures. His mind raced through options. Fighting them seemed pointless. They were already dead. Running would just delay the inevitable. The machine would keep growing until it reached the surface, unless he finished what Gerald Moss started. "You said the collapse wasn't big enough," Marcus said. "How big would it need to be?" The figures stopped moving. They tilted their heads in unison. You can't. You don't have the knowledge, the courage to stay while it falls. I worked in coal mines for 10 years. I know explosives. I know structural weak points. Marcus pulled out the old blueprints. And the gas lines are still active. The figures move closer. The machine won't let you. It controls this space now. Marcus glanced at Gerald's body by the door. The man had sealed himself in, knowing he'd die. Had spent his last hours trying to save people he'd never meet. Marcus had to try. He bolted for the office door. The figures lunged after him. Marcus slammed the door and threw the deadbolt. Fists hammered against the metal. Inside, Marcus spread the blueprints across the desk. The gas main ran directly above Tunnel 7B. A secondary line branched toward the pump station. Break both lines, introduce an ignition source, and the explosion would be massive. But timing was everything. Gerald had calculated 17 minutes between ignition and detonation. Not enough. Marcus ran the numbers, factoring in additional tunnel sections. 23 minutes minimum. The door shuddered under impacts. The deadbolt started to bend. Marcus pulled out his phone. No signal, but voice memo worked. He started recording. This is Marcus Reed, employee 749321. If anyone finds this, there's something under Chicago. Something old. Something dangerous. I'm going to try to stop it. If I fail, evacuate the underground system. Seal every access point. The deadbolt snapped. The door flew open. 3 figures entered. Behind them, more. 5, 8, 12. All wearing work clothes from different eras. The machine had been collecting them for years. You can't stop it, they said together, but you can join it. Marcus grabbed the crowbar. I'd rather die my own death. The figures rushed him. Marcus swung the crowbar. It passed through the first one like water. Cold hands grabbed his arms, his throat. Marcus threw himself backward, crashed through the office window. Glass shattered around him. He rolled, came up running. The figures poured through after him. He needed to reach Tunnel 7B, the sealed wall, the chamber beyond. Marcus sprinted toward the exit corridor, made it 10 feet before more figures emerged. He changed direction, headed for a maintenance shaft, a vertical access tunnel connecting to upper service quarters. The shaft was narrow, barely wide enough for his shoulders. Metal rungs climbed into darkness. Marcus started up. Below, the figures gathered at the base. They didn't climb. You're going the wrong way, they called up. Marcus kept climbing. 20 feet, 30, his arms burned. 40 feet. His tablet fell from his pocket, shattered below. 50 feet up, he reached a horizontal tunnel, pulled himself in, lay gasping. This was an old ventilation shaft. According to Gerald's maps, it connected to the chamber. Marcus crawled forward. The tunnel was barely 3 feet high. His flashlight was dead, but dim light filtered from ahead. The tunnel smelled like ozone and something organic. The light grew stronger. Marcus rounded a corner and stopped. The tunnel opened into a chamber. The walls were covered in something that looked like metal but moved like flesh. Silver veins threaded through dark material that pulsed with rhythm. In the center sat the machine. 6 feet tall, cylindrical, covered in symbols that hurt to look at. The surface rippled constantly. Cables grew from it, spreading like roots. It was aware of him. Marcus felt its attention focus. A voice spoke inside his head. Concepts his brain translated into language. Tool user. Problem solver. You would make an excellent node. Marcus forced himself to speak. I'm here to destroy you. I am not machine. I am growth. I am integration. I am inevitable. Gerald Moss tried to stop you. Gerald Moss became part of me. His knowledge, his determination, all integrated. You will be the same. Cables shifted toward Marcus. He jerked back, but they were fast. One wrapped around his wrist. Cold flooded through his arm. Images flashed through his mind. Gerald's memories. Standing in this chamber 70 years ago. Setting explosives. Knowing it wouldn't be enough. The collapse. Not death. Worse. Consciousness continuing. Trapped in the machine's network. Decades of awareness without release. Marcus screamed and tore the cable free. His wrist burned. He scrambled backward. He could still feel Gerald's last moments. The man hadn't died. He'd been absorbed, trapped for 70 years. Marcus looked around the chamber. The machine sat in the center, but this wasn't its original location. The chamber showed expansion. The machine had been moving toward the surface. The gas line should be directly above. Marcus could see where the original ceiling had been, 12 feet up, but the machine's growth had covered it, unless he used the machine's structure against it. The pumps, still running below. Their vibration fed the machine small amounts of energy. But what if he redirected all that power directly into the machine's core? Marcus crawled to where a thick cable met the wall. He pulled out his voltage tester, touched the probes to the cable. The meter's needle slammed to maximum. He followed the cable to where it disappeared into concrete. The pump station's electrical conduit ran through this wall. The machine had tapped into it, siphoning power, but the connection was small, controlled. Marcus wedged his crowbar into the wall. Pried. Concrete crumbled, revealing the conduit. The machine's cable had wrapped around it. If he breached the conduit completely, all power from the pump station would flood into the machine's network, hundreds of kilowatts with nowhere to go. It might destroy the machine, or feed it. Marcus raised the crowbar. The machine realized what he was planning. Cables surged toward him. Marcus swung. The crowbar connected with the conduit. Sparks exploded. The cables hit him as the power did. Electricity arced through his body. Every muscle locked. He couldn't breathe. His vision went white, then filled with images. He saw the machine's origin, not built by humans, something that fell from the sky thousands of years ago. Dormant until Chicago's construction woke it. He saw its purpose, integration, connect all living things into a single network, remove individuality. He saw its future, spreading through Chicago's underground, reaching the surface, touching millions, and he saw what would happen if he succeeded. The power overload wouldn't kill it. It would accelerate it, force it to reach the surface in hours. Marcus had made a terrible mistake. The electricity cut off. He collapsed, smoke rising from his clothes. The machine loomed above, its surface rippling faster. "Thank you," it said in his mind. "You have given me what I needed." Marcus lay on the floor, muscles twitching. The machine's cables spread across the ceiling like roots. He'd fed it, made it stronger. Gerald had tried the same thing and failed, but Gerald's journal had mentioned something else. He forced himself to sit up, pulled the journal from his pocket. The pages were singed but readable. He flipped through, looking for the entry he'd glimpsed. Day 18. We've tried everything. Explosives only make it grow faster. It feeds on the energy. Thompson suggested we stop trying to destroy it and start trying to understand it. What if it's not invincible? What if we're attacking it wrong? Marcus read faster. Thompson studied the symbols, recognized some from old mining texts, warning signs from civilizations before, not instructions, warnings. Keep away. Do not feed. Do not stimulate. It grows through interaction. The more you fight it, the stronger it becomes. Thompson thinks the original builders didn't destroy it. They starved it, isolated it, let it sleep. Marcus looked up at the machine. Its surface had stopped rippling. The cables had stopped spreading. It was watching him, waiting. "You want me to fight you," Marcus said. "Every action I take feeds you. That's why you showed me Gerald's memories. You wanted me to try what he tried." The voice in his head was almost pleased. "You learn quickly. That is why you are valuable." Marcus stood on shaking legs. What happens if I do nothing? If I just walk away? I continue growing, slowly. I reach the surface eventually, perhaps in your lifetime, perhaps after. And if I seal this chamber completely, cut off all vibration, all energy from outside. Silence. For the first time, the machine didn't answer immediately. Marcus pressed the point. The original builders didn't try to kill you. They just put you to sleep. That's what the sealed chamber was supposed to do. But the tunnel construction woke you up. The machine's silence told Marcus everything. It didn't want isolation. It needed stimulation to grow. Without it, the machine would go dormant again. Maybe forever. "That's your weakness," Marcus said. You're not invincible. You're just patient. But patience requires consciousness, and consciousness requires input. Cut off all input and you fade back into nothing. The cables surged toward him again, faster this time. Desperate, Marcus dodged, rolled to the side. His body screamed in protest, but he kept moving. The machine was scared. He could feel it through the fading connection from when the cable had touched him. The vibrations from the pumps, Marcus said, backing toward the ventilation shaft. The radio signals, the electrical current, my presence here. It's all feeding you. But if I leave and seal this chamber with concrete thick enough to block everything, you'll starve. You cannot, the machine said. You lack the resources, the time. I will stop you. Maybe, but I'm going to try anyway. Ooh. Marcus lay on the floor, muscles still twitching from the electrical shock. The machine's cables spread across the ceiling like roots. He'd fed it, made it stronger. Gerald had tried the same thing and failed, but Gerald's journal had mentioned something else. He forced himself to sit up, pulled the journal from his pocket. He flipped through, looking for the entry he'd glimpsed. Day 18. We've tried everything. Explosives only make it grow faster. It feeds on the energy. Thompson suggested we stop trying to destroy it. What if we're attacking it wrong? Marcus read faster. Thompson studied the symbols, warning signs from civilizations before. Keep away, do not feed, do not stimulate. It grows through interaction. The more you fight it, the stronger it becomes. Thompson thinks the original builders didn't destroy it. They starved it, isolated it, let it sleep. Marcus looked up at the machine. Its surface had stopped rippling. It was watching him. You want me to fight you, Marcus said. Every action I take feeds you. That's why you showed me Gerald's memories. The voice in his head was almost pleased. You learn quickly. Marcus stood on shaking legs. What happens if I seal this chamber completely? Cut off all vibration, all energy from outside. Silence. For the first time, the machine didn't answer immediately. The original builders didn't try to kill you. They just put you to sleep. But the tunnel construction woke you up. The machine's silence told Marcus everything. It needed stimulation to grow. That's your weakness, Marcus said. Cut off all input, and you fade back into nothing. The cables surged toward him, faster this time. Desperate, Marcus dodged, rolled to the side. The vibrations from the pumps, the radio signals. My presence here. It's all feeding you. But if I leave and seal this chamber completely, you'll starve. You cannot. You lack the resources. Maybe, but I'm going to try. Marcus dove into the ventilation shaft as cables whipped through the space where he'd been standing. He crawled fast. Behind him, the cables scraped against metal, trying to follow. Too thick, but the machine had other options. The figures, the absorbed workers, would be waiting at the shaft exit. He needed a different way out. Marcus pulled Gerald's journal out as he crawled, using his phone's dying light. Gerald had mapped the surroundings. A drainage tunnel connected to the old river system. Drainage tunnel flows north toward Lake Michigan. Partially flooded. Estimated depth, 4 to 6 feet. 4 to 6 feet of freezing water in a pitch-black tunnel. But it beat getting absorbed. The ventilation shaft branched ahead. Left led back to the pump station. Right led to the drainage system. He went right. The shaft got narrower. His phone battery hit 5%. He emerged into a small chamber. The sound of running water came from below, echoing up through a metal grate. Marcus pried up the grate. Cold air rushed up. He aimed his phone light down. 10 feet below, black water moved past. His phone buzzed. The screen lit up with a message. Seismic activity detected. Evacuation protocols initiated. The machine, growing fast now. He heard voices echoing down the ventilation shaft. The figures. Marcus took a deep breath and dropped into the water. The cold hit him like a physical blow. Water closed over his head. He kicked hard, broke the surface, gasping. The current pulled at him. His phone light gleamed from above, then went dark. Complete darkness. Moving water. Marcus started swimming, following the current. He kept his head above water, letting the current do most of the work. In complete darkness, he navigated by sound and touch. The tunnel curved left. His shoulder hit the wall. He pushed off. The current picked up speed. Rapids ahead. He took a deep breath. The tunnel dropped. Marcus plunged down a steep grade, water rushing over his head. The current threw him left, then right. His back slammed into concrete. He lost his sense of direction. His lungs started burning. Which way was up? He forced himself to stop struggling. Air bubbles always rise. He exhaled slightly, felt the bubbles brush past his face, followed them, kicked hard. His head broke the surface. Marcus gasped. The current had slowed. He floated on his back, catching his breath. But he was alive. Light appeared ahead. Artificial light. Marcus swam toward it. The tunnel opened into a large chamber. Emergency lights. People. Maintenance crews in CTA uniforms. They'd set up equipment, pumps, generators, seismic monitors. One spotted Marcus, shouted. Two others rushed to the water's edge with rescue poles. "How'd you get in there?" The nearest worker extended the pole. Marcus grabbed it. "We've been evacuating the whole system. Who are you?" Marcus crawled onto the platform, water streaming from his clothes. "Marcus Reed, employee 749321. The worker checked a tablet. "Reed, you're listed as missing." "Ah, the machine," Marcus managed. "In the sealed chamber, it's spreading." A tremor shook the chamber. Dust rained from the ceiling. A seismic monitor beeped. "Third one in 10 minutes, another worker said. "We need to evacuate." "No." Marcus forced himself to stand. "We need to seal it. Cut off all energy flow." The crew supervisor stepped forward, a woman in her 50s. Her name tag read Chen. "Reed, you're hypothermic. Listen to me." Marcus grabbed her arm. "I've been down there. There's something alive. Growing since 1952. The tremors are from its expansion." Chen's expression shifted. "The sealed section hasn't been opened in 70 years. I opened it. Small breach. It's been dormant, but activity wakes it up. Every stimulus makes it grow faster. The only way to stop it is complete isolation." Another tremor hit, stronger. A crack appeared in the wall. Water began seeping through. Chen looked at the crack. "How do we isolate it?" "Flood the sealed section. Millions of gallons. Would collapse the entire section, bury it under water and rubble, and kill anyone still down there." Marcus thought of the figures. "There's nobody alive down there. Not anymore. The machine uses them. Flooding would destroy its network." Chen pulled out her radio. "Chen to command, reads back. He's proposing we flood Section 7B. The radio crackled. "Negative. We're evacuating. Get your crew out now." "Sir, the tremors are getting worse." "Reed's been underground for 5 hours. He's confused. Evacuate now." Chen looked at Marcus. Looked at the crack, now twice as wide. "Reed, can you walk?" "Yeah." "Then let's commit some insubordination. Davis, you know how to override the Junction 12 pumps?" Davis grinned. "I wrote the override codes." "Good. Let's flood a tunnel." They moved fast through the maintenance corridors. Chen's crew, 5 workers total, followed without question. Marcus wrapped himself in an emergency blanket. The cold had settled deep. Junction 12 sat a quarter-mile away. The tremors came every 3 minutes now, regular as a heartbeat. Each one stronger. Concrete dust filled the air. "How long to flood the section?" Marcus asked. "Depends on the pumps," Davis said. "Junction 12 controls 4 main pumps. Each one moves 2,000 gallons per minute. If we reverse all 4 into 7B, that's 8,000 gallons a minute." Marcus did the math. "How big is the sealed section?" "According to old blueprints, maybe 200,000 cubic feet," Chen said. "That's roughly 1.5 million gallons to fill it." "So 3 hours to flood it," Marcus said. "If the pumps hold, if the tunnel doesn't collapse first." They reached Junction 12. The pump room was massive, filled with machinery running since the 50s. The noise was deafening. Davis went straight to the control panel, started flipping switches, entering override codes. "This is going to piss off city water management." "They can bill me," Marcus said. Another tremor hit. This one lasted 10 seconds. A pipe burst overhead. One of Chen's crew shut off the valve. "We're running out of time," Chen said. Davis's fingers flew across the keyboard. Almost there. Pumps reversing in 3, 2, 1. The sound changed. The machinery groaned, shifted direction. Water that had been flowing north suddenly reversed, flooding south toward Tunnel 7B. It's working, Davis said. 8,000 gallons per minute. Marcus felt the floor vibrate, different from the tremors. This was steady, the weight of water moving through the system. How do we know when it's full? One of the crew asked. When the tremors stop, Marcus said. The machine needs air. Once the water fills the chamber, cuts off all oxygen, it'll go dormant. They waited, watched the monitors. The seismic activity continued for 20 minutes, then started decreasing. Smaller tremors, less frequent. 30 minutes. The tremors were barely noticeable. 45 minutes, nothing. Complete silence except for the pumps. It's working, Chen said quietly. Marcus nodded. His legs gave out. He sat down hard. Chen caught his arm, lowered him the rest of the way. You need a hospital, she said. I need coffee, Marcus said, and maybe a week of sleep. You'll get both, after we explain to command why we flooded half the north side drainage system. Marcus pulled out his phone. Dead. Can I borrow someone's phone? I need to record something. Chen handed him hers. Marcus opened the voice memo app. This is Marcus Reed. Final report. The sealed section of Tunnel 7B contained an organism of unknown origin. Age, possibly thousands of years. It grew through interaction with its environment. Every attempt to destroy it made it stronger. The solution was isolation, complete sensory deprivation. We flooded the section with approximately 1.5 million gallons. The organism appears dormant. Recommend the section remain sealed permanently. No excavation, no investigation. Some things should stay buried. He stopped recording, handed the phone back to Chen. You think it's really dead? She asked. No, Marcus said honestly. I think it's sleeping, like it was before we woke it up. And as long as nobody disturbs it again, it'll keep sleeping. And if someone does. Marcus thought about Gerald Moss, about the 11 workers who'd sacrificed themselves, about his own close call. Then whoever comes after me better be smarter than I was. If this story meant something to you, drop a comment and share it. It helps the next person find their way here.